Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my independent spotlight. Today's guest is Alpha Tyler, if you haven't noticed. Just gonna wave at the people, huh?
Hello. I still haven't trimmed my mustache.
It happens. But yeah, a lot of people don't know the many hats of Alpha Tyler, so I wanted to interview him so that he could let everybody know what he's all about and what he does. So if you want to take it away and give your origin story, go for it, Alpha.
I'm all about that business. I don't know. I'm probably the worst person in the world at talking about myself. Well,
Yeah, you love to talk.
as far as like making a biography or something like that. I'm from Southeast Kentucky. So I don't know. I've been really blessed. So I guess anybody who doesn't know about me, I would say I grew up in Southeast Kentucky. Right around, not right around, at 17, I joined the Army. Spent a few years kind of going around doing the cool things. Ultimately, after it was all said and done, came back to Southeast Kentucky, taught for a little while, kind of went into, uh, private sector work for a little while. Didn't really enjoy what I was doing anywhere, kind of chasing dollars. And throughout that time on the side, I was writing articles for wrestling websites, game websites, movie websites, stuff like that. And I was DJing, and kind of, when COVID lockdowns happened, kind of didn't have time to keep DJing, and started kind of looking at YouTube, Twitch, came into that world, kind of got fortunate, met a few people, and then we all started interacting with one another through that, and that's how we got here. That's the Notes version, I guess.
Yeah, that's the Clip Notes. I got you.
Yeah. That'd be me in a nutshell.
Right. You left out something though that you've told most of us and or you've mentioned before in lives. You completely forgot about talking about. You were in a band at one time.
I was in several bands.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing the drums in 2001. Well, actually, okay, so I started playing the bass guitar. The bass guitar was the first music instrument that I actually picked up. I started that in early 2001. And then by the end of 2001, I realized I didn't really like playing the bass so much. If I was going to play the bass, I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. But I wasn't really interested in playing the guitar either. I really wanted to play the drums. And so the drums were kind of my passion, and that was kind of what I took off and really started playing music with. Had a couple of really good friends who were much more experienced drummers than me at the time. And so we would play in bands and stuff like that. I started off playing the drums in bands. As time kind of progressed and I started playing with better and better guitarists, started playing with a few guys who were a lot more talented than I was. And so I kind of shifted out of the drum seat and I started doing weird stuff in bands. Initially I just started singing in bands. So if you want to really go back to my history with music, I started singing at talent shows when I was like 7 or 8.
Nice.
The music instructor at my school actually heard me singing one day and would always kind of harass me to sing at the talent shows. My mom still has like a ton of the old VHS tapes or whatever of the stuff, and I'm just a dorky little kid singing "I Believe I Can Fly" and stuff like that. And so every school assembly, whether it was like a Christmas program or like a talent show or whatever it was, I always had a single like on the program, on the little flyer program, whatever, because I was going to sing. And so once I kind of moved out of the way of playing the drums for the bands that I was playing with, I started singing in those bands. And so from about 2001 till about 2004, I usually was playing in a band, and then I kind of stepped away from that in 2004 when I really started getting into hip hop. And I didn't really play in a band again for a while until I got to Hawaii. Started playing drums with some artists that were out in Hawaii on the bar scene, and so we would play the drums kind of around the bars in Hawaii on Oahu and stuff like that. And then about 2012 was when I reconnected with a guitarist that I had used to work with, and we started our own band. So in that, he did the guitar, the bass, I did singing, keyboard, synthesizer, and then I that was what really prompted me to learn how to be a DJ, because I also, if I was going to sing in the band, I also wanted to have a turntable and do some scratching and stuff like that. And so 2012 was when I really started taking seriously like the DJ side of it. I was just doing it in addition to singing for this band, and then also in the studio I was doing the drums and stuff.
Cool. So you've been involved with music from an early age. You said you started singing when you were really young. Did you get into band in school and stuff?
Yeah, so I started band in middle school, so in the 6th grade. But I got kicked out. So
imagine that.
our band, our middle school band had to take a bus over to the high school, and our class was at the high school with the high school's band teacher. And me and this other dude got in a fight in the cafeteria at the high school, and we both got kicked out of band because of it. So I didn't get to join band again until the 9th grade when I got in high school. At which point, all through high school, I took jazz band, pep band, marching band, and concert band. So I took all four of the band electives that I could.
Nice. So the band you got into, it broke up or something?
Yeah. So if you're talking about the one that I was in 2012, that was my friend Eric. We started a studio. I was back in Kentucky. We opened up a studio together, and the band was just kind of our passion project for us to do kind of our things. We were doing djent music. If you don't know what djent is, it's a style of progressive metal. We were doing djent, and it was really good. I enjoyed some of the songs that we had. Some of the songs weren't so good, but yeah, we kind of stayed together. We made a pretty good amount of progress toward finishing an album, but we kind of hit a point where creative differences kind of pushed us apart. I still love that dude. We get along really, really well. We just creatively, we just kind of go in different directions, and it kind of hit a point where it didn't feel authentic. It kind of hit a point where we were kind of arguing about the outcome a little bit too much, and so it was kind of interfering with our friendship, and we just decided to kind of let it fizzle out instead of it being a thing that we couldn't get along because of anymore.
Right, I can understand that. Will any of those songs get any kind of a remaster and put out later on?
I mean, maybe. There are a couple of songs that I'm working on right now that are in kind of a similar style to that stuff. But I don't know that any of those songs will get remastered and put out. Those songs still exist on the internet. It was after the MySpace massive wipes. So unlike my hip hop music from the early 2000s, this is very much still alive and well on the internet. I won't tell anyone where, but it's actually not that hard to find. If you go in and Google the right things, you can find it relatively quickly. I'm not saying that you should. I just want to give no legitimacy to those songs at all. So by no means should you go and look them up, but they are out there if you're ever morbidly curious.
Understood. And since you don't want to give the blueprint on how to find them, we'll just leave it at that. So when the COVID lockdowns happened, then what were you doing?
So at the time, I was an operations manager with the company I was working with. That was my day job. I was a list writer for uh, the Sportster, Game Rant, the Gamer, and Screen Rant. If you know those websites,
I know
um,
screenwriter. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I was writing articles for those in the evening. My day job, I was an operations manager, and then also on the side, I was a DJ. I was DJing weddings and parties and stuff like that. So
Cool.
pretty much my weekends were DJing, my evenings were writing articles for those websites, and my days were on a computer doing inventories and planning and all the other great fun things that an operations manager does.
Right.
It's a really boring job. It sounds fancy, but you know how like as you increase, as you get more and more promotions, you kind of hit a point where you're not operationally doing any of the things that made your job fun at one
Right.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's firmly at that point. Like it's at the point where you're no longer actually interacting at all with your workforce. So I had about at that time I had about 300 employees, and it was kind of to the point. So I personally I managed 2 federal contracts, and then I assisted with a third federal contract, and I was the alternate for a fourth federal contract. So technically, I was involved with 4 federal contracts. I had 300
Wow.
direct employees under me for the 2 contracts that I was primarily over, and then there were probably another 200 or so employees that I was working with on the other 2 contracts that I was involved with, which is part of why, if you fast forward a little bit, when I say that I just got to a point where I was burnt out with that job,
Mm-hmm.
that's that's a good part of the reason why.
I can understand that one.
Yeah.
Now, when the lockdowns happened, you
Mhm.
switched your focus somewhat to creating a online community.
Yeah, so when the lockdowns happened, I was a DJ with all kinds of DJ equipment and like kind of this routine where I was like, okay, I use weekends for DJing. I'd always wanted to make some content on YouTube, and specifically, I'd always wanted to do some reactions because I watched YouTubers who did reactions, and I didn't feel like most of them were authentic. At the time, it was like No Life Shack, Laid Back, Arctic.
Mm-hmm.
Those were kind of like the big dudes doing reactions,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I was just I was kind of like, you know, I shouldn't say that none of them were authentic, especially Arctic. Arctic is pretty consistent, but
Right.
like I just I didn't feel like they were 100% authentic. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like they
Right.
would give bad news to somebody that they liked.
Right.
And so I kind of always had like the desire. I was like, I would like to do reactions. Like I would like to go live or not go live. I would like to, do YouTube reactions. I had no concept of anything with YouTube. Like I didn't actually understand the environment at all. But yeah, when COVID lockdowns happened, it seemed like a good time to me, and I was like, I have that extra time since I'm not able to actually book weddings. I'm not booking any parties or anything like that. I have time for that. And so I started YouTube. Within about 3 months, I was actually making pretty steady income from YouTube. My revenue was up. Obviously during the lockdowns, if anybody was putting out videos during the COVID lockdowns, then you remember. I mean, it was revenue was at an all-time high because everybody was watching videos like
Right.
all the time then. So
Mm-hmm.
um within about 3 months, it was, the revenue was up pretty well. And so that was the point where I kind of stepped away from writing articles and stuff like that. I
Mm-hmm.
moved away from the websites that I was writing articles for because I was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I could make these same types of videos if I wanted for my own YouTube channel instead of doing articles. The funny thing is I never actually brought that full circle and did it. Um, but it's still something that I very much want to do because I enjoyed the articles that I was writing for those
Right.
sites. It's just something I've not actually moved around to. But yeah, um, so in my brain, I was like, well, I'll be a little bit better off if I just use this time to building YouTube instead of writing articles after I'm done with work in the evenings. And that period was the point where I was putting out like 8 reaction videos a day, you know?
Yeah.
And because, you know, it was already time that I'd been using for other things, it kind of just like consolidated. Instead of like making money from 5 different places in addition to my day job, it became, okay, now I'm going to focus on this one place and my day job, you know?
Right. Right.
And so, yeah, that was kind of 2020. That was how YouTube kind of took a bigger space for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And then from that, you started building your community on Discord, right?
Yeah. So the community kind of accidentally happened. So I said it from the beginning when I came to YouTube and I started making videos. The videos, yes, are my opinion because I have something to offer. I understand music. I've done music for X amount of time. You know, these are the ways that I've been involved with music. I feel like I have something to add that a lot of people aren't really adding when they're reviewing music. The community was always kind of like, as I started actually interacting in comments and stuff, and you know, kind of knowing people as much as you can really know people.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got a desire. So through the comments, I got a desire to go live. And when I started going live and the same people started coming and showing up in the live streams and actually interacting and having conversations with me, from that, I kind of got a desire to interact more directly with those people, which is how the community streams started, like way back when we would do like 12 hours on a Saturday, you know?
Yeah.
And that was really where all that came from. And it was more as I started being more exposed, interacting with these people more, I started realizing like what so anybody who knows me knows that I'm a people person. I'm a relationship person. I will talk. I enjoy dialogue. You know, I don't love
Yeah.
talking about myself so much, but I do love talking.
Yeah.
And so as it came around, you know, as you interact with people more and more, you start to care about the people more and more. And so it became really important to me that what I was doing was more about the community that was around it than just the people that were watching videos and the person who was making a video.
HBR said you found out I'm an asshole.
I did. I knew HBR. I've known HBR for a long time now. HBR was in one of the HBR. I think started coming around the first few months that I was on YouTube. Fun fact about the Dick Sword, actually, I believe, if I'm not wrong, HBR was the first admin of the Discord.
Yeah, quite possibly. He's helped a lot of people form their communities.
I can't remember if he was the first admin that I had in Discord or if it was LOD and then HBR fixed it after LOD disappeared. Or if it was vice versa, HBR had it right and then LOD fucked it up.
Yeah, one of those two scenarios.
One of those two situations occurred. Either way, HBR was one of the first admins, and then LOD was the other one. And one of them did a really good job, and one of them did a really bad job, and we'll leave it there.
Right. Right. So
you fixed it from LOD. There we go.
Jason remembers.
Yeah.
And Jason is our Pepperidge Farm from the Dick Sword. Because he remembers.
Well, it's just like when it comes to like admins, somehow, with the exception of like HBR, everybody who has ever been an admin on the Dick Sword just hates me. So
no, that's not true. That's not true. I have never hated you.
You weren't an admin.
True.
I am far more intelligent than to make you an admin of it, okay? That's too much power, and I don't need you. I don't need you accidentally deleting like 20 channels.
This is true.
How are we? We're 20 minutes into this and we haven't cilantroed yet. This is
Oh
a
yeah,
farce. This
that
is a
that that
farce.
that is a terrible thing. Everybody, raise your glasses, your bongs, whatever, and cilantro.
Cilantro. All right. Resume. Sorry.
Jason says, as a former admin, I never hated you.
That is true. Jason was an admin, so okay, I'll take it back. Jason and Hillbilly never hated me. All the other admins.
Well, I mean, Hillbilly hates everybody equally, so
To be
there is
fair,
that.
to be fair, Mandy came in hating me.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna watch this back later and send me a fuck you.
Probably. But so let's see. We've covered your history in music, the community, your prior works, but we never touched on your DJing for a certain somebody. How did that all happen?
Who, Nappy?
No. The man you always take phone calls for.
So
No matter what it is.
So the situation, so Mises was actually an interesting one. So we were talking kind of up to that point, and the way that came about was well, Dan is the original reason that I checked out Mises's music. Yes. And that was really early on the channel. That was when old Saint Mises was a young feller. Actually, I believe it started with Dying. He had me check out.
As a matter of fact, I think Dan has turned almost everybody on YouTube onto Mises at some point in their time.
Yeah. So Dan sent me Mises's way. And so the first one that Dan made me check out was Dying. So the Adam Calhoun featuring Mises song Dying. And then Dan was the one that kept harassing me to go back and listen to more Mises. Fun examples that I remember are ones like when the Watt Sing came out. Dan insisted that I check it out. And then I said, Daniel, I do not like this song. Why would you want me to listen to this song? What kind of woke bullshit are you sending me? And they're fun times. Anyway, so as Mises kept coming out with new music, Mises was like, every channel has that one artist who, when they're reacting to music, they react to every song that drops. And with Dan in my ear, I kind of ended up accidentally reacting to every new song that Mises would come out with.
Right.
And so Mises was his music really started growing on me. He was really present on the channel. He would always stop by, show love, whatever. And so when I decided that I wanted to start doing interviews every now and then, the first interview, I wanted the first interview to be somebody that like made sense for the channel. I didn't want to go out of my way to try and get like a I don't know, like a Tom McDonald or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I, even though Tom McDonald would have made sense, because actually at that same time, Tom McDonald would hang out in my reaction video premieres. Like, if you go back and watch my old Tom McDonald reactions, you can see Tom chatting in the premiere chat. And like a video or two, I know he commented on, because I've still got his comments pinned.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, Tom McDonald probably wouldn't have even been that weird, but like you get what I'm saying. Like, I wanted it to be somebody that made sense for the channel. And so Mises kind of made sense, and he agreed to do the interview. And so that was the first interview that I had on my channel. Funny story about that. The day of the interview, if you actually go back and look, he forgot. So if you know anything about the dude, he is terrible like at remembering that he's agreed to do interviews or whatever. And anyway, he forgot about it that day, and I was like 2 hours past the start time, whatever. I'd went live one time because then he had said he was on his way and then forgot again or something, caught him off guard and whatever. And so I went live with a completely different fuck Mises live stream, like being pissed at him because and I think I even started the live off with, well, I haven't fucking heard back from him, so fuck it, like, you know, whatever. Like, first interview, fuck interviews, I don't want to do interviews anymore. And so like maybe 5 minutes into that live stream, he sent me an email and asked me if he could have my phone number. And so I emailed him my phone number back. You know, I'm sitting there through gritted teeth. I'm like, this motherfucker, like, nah. Send him my phone number. So he gives me a call. And he's like, hey, man, I totally forgot. And then I had to like figure out dinner for my wife and all this. He's like, can we still do it? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm live right now. Do you want to do it right now? Yeah. Okay. So then we ended the live stream and started a new one with the interview. And and we had a really good talk. It was a really good interview. If anybody hasn't watched it, I would suggest that you go back and watch it because it was a really solid conversation. So over the next few weeks, it was kind of a weird situation because I was like, I mean, we got along, but like I don't know that dude. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like I know him well enough, but like we're not friends. And so like I was like, I don't know. Well, one day I see something funny that made me think of something he had said in the interview. And so I took a picture of it and sent it to him. He sent me some laughs back. Then like a week or two later, he sends me like a similar text that made him chuckle. And so for a little while, we would just like shit post text back and forth. Like literally no words were said. It was just like, haha, this is funny. Like, here's this thing, here's this thing, here's this thing. And then, you know, we kind of just, you know, that kind of fizzled out after a little while because that's the way things go sometimes when two people are living their own lives. And so we didn't really talk for a while. And then probably, and I was still reacting to his music and stuff like that, you know. But then what was it? June of 2021? June of 2020, May of 2021. He sends me a text and he's like, hey, can I give you a call real quick? And I'm like, yeah. Like, sure. I vividly remember this day because I was taking a shit when he sent me the text. And I told my wife, I was like, I don't know what this dude fucking wants. And anyway, so he gives me a call and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, I've got a show whenever it was in Texas. And I was like, cool, good for you. And he was like, yeah, COVID restrictions are coming down and everything. And I've got a show out there. And I was like, cool. And he goes, are you going to come to it? And I was like, no, I live in Kentucky. Like, I was like, I mean, and so in my mind, I'm like, this dude's just like hella hype that, you know, COVID lockdowns are done. And like, he's just trying to make sure that he's got some fans at the show and stuff like that, whatever. And I was like, nah, probably not. Like, I was like, that's a bit of a hike. I was like, if it was a little bit closer, I would definitely come out. And he's like, yeah, he's like, well, what if I pay for your trip and stuff? And I was like, why would you do that? And, you know, because in my brain, he still hasn't like gotten to the reason that he's asking me to. And so in my brain, I'm just like, this man cannot be doing this for many fans because that's going to get expensive as fuck. Like,
how much money does this man have?
Yeah, I was like, he must be killing it, you know? And so I was like, well, I mean, I was like, I would have to take some time off of work. I was like, because that'll take me a few days to actually make the trip and stuff. I was like, but I was like, yeah, I guess like if you're gonna take care of everything, like I'll make the trip. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I'll get you for gas or a plane ticket, however you want to get there. He's like, and I'll get your food and hotel and everything. And I was like, that is a very generous offer. And he was like, yeah, he's like, and I'll pay you too. And I was like, you'll pay me? I was like, why would you pay me? And he's like, well, I need a DJ. And I was like, oh, I was like, that's what you're looking for. Okay. Well, suddenly everything makes a little bit more sense. And he
Mm-hmm.
was so like we had a little talk, you know, he wanted to know what kind of equipment I used and everything, and kind of wanted to see like some demonstrations and stuff like that. And so like we hooked everything up, and he was like, okay, cool. So gave me the hotel information, and that was like the last time that we talked until I was a good chunk of the way down there. We talked a few times during the trip and stuff, you know.
Nice.
So we get there, we do that show, and there are like a million fucking little stories that I could tell inside that, but I won't.
Right.
Um,
And that was
so
the West Texas Mud Run.
yeah, that was the West Texas Mud Run in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was with Overtime, New Breed, Jesse Howard, and uh, Just in Time. And so good little trip, you know, good little outing. So we're there, and he's like, hey, he's like, I've got another show out in Orlando coming up in about a month or two. He's like, would you be able to make it out there and stuff too? And so I was like, yeah. That ended up being the Freedom Fest, which you know,
Right.
speaking of Dan, that was the one that Dan rolled along with me at. That was where I met Jimmy Levy, Topher, the Marine Rapper, Burden, High Res, and that one was on my birthday. So that one, we did that one. So between those two, we kind of started interacting a little bit more, and you know, I would say that was the point where we really became friends.
Right.
We got out there, we did the show, it went well. You know, of course, since then there've been other shows and such, and you know, just over time we just started kind of talking a little bit more. 2022 rolled around. I want to say January or February of 2022. He kind of hit me out about coming out to his house and building him a studio. We kind of started working together a little bit more. That was the point where, you know, going back to work history and stuff, that was the point where kind of what I was doing behind the scenes was kind of compensating a little bit more than, you know, that was the point where it kind of made more sense for me to leave my day job and focus on
Mm-hmm.
the music stuff that I do primarily, and then the YouTube and Twitch stuff that I do as the secondary income.
Right.
So that's kind of that brings us full circle, I guess, to where we are now.
Right. When and how did you get into doing the engineering aspect?
So that was kind of on a whim. That was in late last year, early this year. I can't remember which one. That was either it was definitely between October of last year and January of this year. That he
So it had
asked
to have been
me.
last year, because when we had the meetup last year, you were helping on
Well,
his
yeah,
album, right?
no, I would say so. Yeah, no. As far as like us working together on stuff, you're right. Well, the first song that I mixed for him was actually kind of an accident. It was just like straight up, like he just needed the mix done quick, and so he sent it to me because I was at his house, and that was the very first time that I mixed the song for him. But like that was off the cuff. Like that wasn't really, it wasn't like a gradual thing. It wasn't a planned
Yeah,
thing
but
or anything like that.
before that, did you do any mixing before that?
Like at all.
Yeah, at all?
Yeah. I started mixing music in 2000.
Because that's what I was getting at, how you got into doing the mixing and all.
Yeah.
Not just with him,
Okay.
but
So as far as how I originally got into mixing, it was around
Mhm.
like 2003. It was while I was working with, while I was playing in, you know, garage bands and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And we were looking at how we actually could record music without paying a studio out the ass. Now, mind you, this was the early 2000s before everybody
Mhm.
had a home studio and everything.
Right.
And so initially how I got into mixing was I downloaded a cracked version of Sony Acid Pro so that we could record everything on the shitty laptop that I had through like the worst microphone setup that I've ever seen in my life. And then I had to figure out how to actually make it sound decent. So that was initially how I got into mixing. Now 2010, I applied to Full Sail University and got accepted at Full Sail. to their audio engineering program and ended up dropping out because I was active duty in the Army, and there was no way that I could actually dedicate the amount of time that I needed to working through their program and being in Afghanistan. And so I tried to do that. I tried to do it the legitimate way after I taught myself. Okay, so starting with Acid Pro in about 2002, 2003, I went from there into a couple of other old programs that I can't really even remember now. Cubase, stuff like that. And then and obviously when I applied to Full Cell, they gave me a laptop with a copy of Pro Tools on it. And so I was attempting to legitimize what I'd already taught myself. It's weird because in the middle of this too, like I got into like beat production and stuff like that. So I downloaded Fruity Loops for that, like the old Fruity Loops, not the new one that is actually usable. The old one that was literally just a loop station. I got into all kinds of different like production softwares and stuff like that over time. And then 2011 was when I was putting my own studio together, and it's really funny actually. I found this the other day. Hold up, I'll show you this. I bought. It was called Sonar. It was by a company called Cakewalk. It has become the free software now that is Cakewalk by BandLab, which is a fucking joke. Sonar was actually like it was a similar thing. It came with a lot of really cool plugins and stuff, but like. It was actually really dope, and I built my studio around it. And I actually have, if I can get inside this closet, I have a table up against this closet that may prevent me from doing so right now. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. This table is like right up against this closet. Well, I found my original Sonar X1 producer that I bought in 2011 when I started putting a digital studio together. But how I got into engineering was mostly through needing to do it for myself, and then doing it for other people based on like the fact that I could do it.
Yeah, HBO says Cakewalk is a good free DAW.
It's all right. I mean, technically, any DAW is the DAW you use does not matter. It's the plugins you use that matter. I've
heard you say that a lot.
Yeah, if you're comfortable with Cakewalk, then you should use Cakewalk. But it used to be really good when the company was Cakewalk and the product was Sonar. That was when Roland owned Cakewalk before BandLab bought it out. When Roland owned it, it was really good, but it went to shit like quick. But it's only because now it doesn't come with any plugins. When I'm talking about something being shit, obviously the DAW is just the interface. Use whatever interface you're comfortable with, but it used to actually come with good plugins like Pro Tools does.
So basically, you started out in music, got into production out of a necessity, and then
I got into engineering as a necessity. Yeah. I got into production as a desire.
Right. And then built a community after.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds about right.
So you've been in the scene in one way or another since your youth.
Yeah.
So you have years of experience in the music side as well as the engineering and production. And you built the community that is how I found you. And you ended up having a meetup last year. You want to talk about that some?
It was cool. Everybody came out. We made some hamburgers. We had a lot of fun times. Jiminator broke my toilet. There's absolutely free beer in my community, Menace. I will tell you that I'm pretty sure anyone who has been to my house has found free beer in most of the places.
Yes, I can attest. Not to mention alcohol.
There's one thing. there's one thing that it's not hard to find in my house, and that would be alcohol.
Fireman wants to know how the fuck you broke the toilet.
Man, I don't even know. Like, he picked the back up off of it and apparently just decided it belonged on the floor and smashed it.
Namson says, I got into engineering as a necessity. I felt that pain in my soul.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you. Like, there comes a point you're either going to learn how to do it or you're just, it's not going to get done, you know?
Right. So TNT Dad says, free beer, I'm on the way, Tyler. Hell yeah.
Hey, I'm saying you're my neighbor anyway, ain't you? Like, you're what, in Alabama? You ain't that far. Come on up. I'm just on the other side of Tennessee, brother.
And I do have to say that you have always been the same person online that you are in real life from when I met you at the meetup. You're very giving of yourself. TNT's dad says he lives in the middle of Georgia.
Even closer. Take I-75 up. As soon as you get through that shithole Tennessee and you get into the nice bluegrass state, you'll be right here.
Menace says November 2nd they'll be in Grayson, Kentucky performing.
Nice. As long as I don't have something else going on, I'll be there, Doc.
That's something else. Is you've made it known anybody from the community that comes through your neck of the woods stop by and see you.
Yeah. I've always got an invitation out there, man.
Yep.
I like people.
Right. And I think that's where you and I connected the most, is that we are people and we love conversations.
Yeah.
And the meetup last year was great. We had lots of fun. A lot of people bitched and moaned during it, but I have a lot of fond memories.
Yeah. No, I had a good time. It was a really
Right.
good time. I was hoping we would do something similar this year, but it wasn't in the cards. Everybody was kind of beat up around that time.
Yeah, I'm still recovering from my amputation from October. You can say it. I know you want to. Go for it.
No. Just saying that toe was sacrificed at the last meetup. It's ironic that it hindered you from the next one.
Yeah, it happened after the meetup, but yeah.
I said the sacrifice was made. I didn't say it got cut off at the last one.
Right. But yeah. Let's see. Who are some of your favorite independent artists?
Like ever?
Currently, yeah.
Well, I think Twisted will always probably be at the top of that list for me. Mm-hmm. Twisted just has always been phenomenal to me.
Right.
I'll be honest, like JJ Lawhorn, I would say would probably make it into my top 5. JJ's music is a phenomenal breath of fresh air for me.
Right.
Definitely, like I said, Twisted at the top, for sure. Everybody else mm-hmm. is kind of where they may go. I would say Nampy's music, like, no joke, Nampy's music is easily in the top 5 for me. Just Nampy mm-hmm. does amazing things that I truly believe nobody else is doing. Right. And it's well up there. The artist formerly known as Wee Scheme always tickled my fancy pretty well. Independent artists. I mean, that's where it gets weird though, because if you're gonna talk about independent artists, like Ritz is so top tier, man. Mm-hmm. Tech Nine is legendary, even though, like, I will say Tech Nine's not on my everyday listen type grind. You know what I mean? Right. Ritz, I would say, is a little bit more of an everyday listen top beat for me. Since Joyner technically counts as independent, I guess we can talk about Joyner, but you know, take it or leave it. I wouldn't put him in my top 5. But sticking to truly independent artists, yeah, like I said, and of course, Mises' music is always pretty great to me.
Right.
I gotta think, like, there are a ton. See, the weird thing is, like, I got into the underground scene in the 90s. I didn't come into it through YouTube, and so, like, I got into dudes like fucking. I remember Lil Watt and Jelly Roll when they dropped that joint in like 2012 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I still vibe with stuff like that, and so those dudes. I started listening to Mad Child about the same time, around 2012. Like, and I always really liked Mad Child's music. I would say if I were to give like a top 5 in no particular order, it would contain Twisted, Ritz, Nampson, Mises, and probably, honestly, I don't know, Calico, maybe? Chris Calico, I think, would be up there too.
Nice. Hi, Larry. Hi, Athena.
What up, y'all? What up, y'all?
I saw a little wait for the win from a fireman.
Yep. Shout out Lil Watt. Lil Watt's dope, man.
Right. So you're working on an album, right?
No, that's speculation. Yeah. Yep. I'm working on an album.
Who would be a dream collab of yours?
Nobody. No, honestly, like, the thing is, man, I only want to work with people that want to work with me. Like, at the end of the day, as far as like dream collabs, I'm not like a envious person. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I'm not saying that you have to be envious to have a dream collab. I'm just straight up saying, like, I want to work with people who organically want to work with me, you know?
Right.
I want to, like, I don't ever want to chase somebody for a feature or,
right.
You know, like, pay somebody out the ass just to say that they were on an album or a project or something like that, which is why I don't even rush making music. I mean, this album was supposed to drop June of last year originally. And so, you know, it's not for a lack of like interest in it. It's just like I'm doing a ton of other things, and my music is like just a background thought for me. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Larry says, "Put me on the album, Tyler. I'm gonna vote for Kamala Harris."
That's a bad move, and you know it, Larry.
Menace also says they're going to be performing with Little White on the 27th in Indy.
That's dope. I would say that I would try to make it up for that one, but I will be. I have a wedding that weekend, I know, but I also, and the only reason I know I have a wedding that weekend is because I know that whatever that Friday is, I think Friday is the 27th. Whatever that Friday is, I'm going to Adam Calhoun show out here.
Nice. And Jason says, like him, he'll work with you.
Yeah. No, 100%. Me and Jason's always got a spot.
Right. And Nampy had made a comment earlier saying putting me in the top 5, and I ain't even had to bribe you.
For the Brantley tour? Yeah.
So, political leanings. Let's go into that.
Okay.
Let's talk about your political affiliation.
This is the part where everyone starts to hate me a little bit. Okay. What do you want to know?
Tell everybody where you stand politically.
I'm a little L libertarian. I'm also a registered libertarian, but the Libertarian Party in America is a fucking joke. So, yeah. No, I'm straight up. As far as where I side on things, picture the solution that has the least government involvement, and that's probably where I stand on that thing.
Right. Menace says I'm voting Ralph Nader.
Yeah,
I got a train coming here in a minute.
I remember Ralph Nader.
Mm-hmm.
Is that guy even still alive?
I don't know.
Yeah, so Brantley, Demon, and Adam are who I'm going to see too, but I will not watch a Brantley Gilbert concert. I saw a Brantley Gilbert concert a few years ago when he wasn't as big as he is. I went to it because the girl that I was dating at the time was a huge Brantley Gilbert fan, and so it's trauma, you know. Like I have zero desire to sit through another Brantley show. I definitely want to see Adam and Demon. I'm just not a fan of Brantley Gilbert's music. Bet a lot of people don't remember who. Oh, Ralph Nader. HBR, you take that back. Did Jay vote for Hillary? I'm pretty sure that's true. That seems accurate.
No, I didn't vote for Hillary. I cannot stand for a woman that would leave military service members to die for nothing.
Yeah,
That's why I told him to take that back. And no, Namson, I just hear them in the background, and I'll mute whenever the horns are blowing to try to save people's headphone ears.
So political leanings, I think that answers the question. Is there a specific topic you want my feelings on?
I mean, not really. I was just letting people know about you and who you are and what you stand for.
Okay, I thought you were gonna corner me and we were gonna talk about abortion or something.
No. I know you're a conservative.
Well, no. So I am. But that's the thing. That's where people get confused, though. I'm still a libertarian at the end of the day. The government should have no involvement in abortion, whether like making it legal or illegal is irrelevant. If you want to make it illegal, define the point that life starts at either conception or a certain point during the pregnancy. As far as making it illegal, the government should have no say in that. It's between the woman, the doctor, and the man. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, that's the point where I feel like a lot of people fall short. The man who helped conceive the child should absolutely have a say in the abortion process. Now,
amen.
Do I think it's wrong? Do I think it's a sin? Do I think that you're a shitty ass human if you get an abortion? Absolutely. The thing is, I will not impede your ability to get one. I don't think that the government has the right. It's your sin to bear. You are the one who has to be accountable for that at judgment at the end of the day.
Right.
And so if you choose to have an abortion, you can choose to tell God why you chose to have an abortion, and you can see if he thinks it makes sense. It's not my burden to bear, because at the end of the day, I would never co-sign an abortion. I would never be with a woman who would want to have an abortion. I would never put myself in a situation where, you know, an unwanted pregnancy is resolved by killing it.
Right.
Simple as that. To me,
right.
I firmly believe that it's murder. But, you know, do I think that the government gets to regulate it? Absolutely not. It's not the government's place to regulate it. Roe versus Wade should have been overturned because it should, at a minimum, go to the states, but really it should just go completely out of the government hands. And that's in terms of regulation and funding. Government should not be kicking any money into Planned Parenthood or even paying for the medical procedure. Again, if it's going to be between the lady, her doctor, and whoever, then it also needs to be between their bank account and the institution that's providing it.
Right. I'll feel you on that. Hi, Roxy. There's the MVP of the Alpha team.
Roxy fiending right now. She's like, where the fuck has this bum been at all week?
You're right. And to that point, you're getting over being sick.
Yeah. I just haven't felt good for a few days.
You feeling a lot better today than the last couple of days?
I would say no. I have an adrenaline rush coming into this interview, so I'm feeling a little bit better presently. I I on the way here, I went to pick up Emery from school, and then went to grab her some food after school, and then went over to buy some beer. And on my way between grabbing food and grabbing beer, there was a guy on a motorcycle who cut me off. So I rolled down my window as any good citizen would and called him a dumbass, to which he decided to race up beside my car and ask me what I said, to which I responded, "I called you a dumbass." At which point he decided that it was a good idea to try to get close to my car, so I swerved toward him like I was going to hit him. At which point he swerves away and then comes back and slaps my mirror like that's a big move, and then loses his balance on his bike and eats shit in the fucking turn lane.
Damn.
And so I'm going up and I get to the next red light, and this truck that was behind me the whole way pulls up beside me, and I was like, oh, great, this is his friend here to talk shit now. Pulls up beside me, rolls down the window, he goes, "I'd have ran that motherfucker over." And I was like, I have my kid though. So
right.
But yeah, gave me a nice little adrenaline boost that has cleared my head a little bit.
I feel you. So we've talked about your music career, your engineering, your friendship with Mises, your political standing. Let's talk religion now.
Okay. God is good.
You are a Christian, right?
Yeah. All day, baby.
Let's talk about how you were raised, and then how did you fall out and then come back?
So, well, I wasn't really raised in church. I found church when I was younger. When I was in high school, though, going with my friends from school. Neither of my parents are very religious at all. But I started going to church with a friend of mine to a youth group on Wednesdays when I was a freshman in high school, so about 14. He was a senior. He would take me after his dad drove the church bus, and so he'd take a bunch of us with him home after school, and we'd hang out there, play a little bit of music, play some D&D or whatever, and then load up the church bus and go to church for youth group. So I started going to youth group. Really, I started going just kind of as a way to get away from, I guess, like home for a little bit, and kind of get out and hang out with my friends a little bit extra, play some basketball at the gym and all that. And then after I started going there for a while for youth group, I started going with him on Sundays as well, because he would roll through and he would pick me up to go to church. And that lasted for a little while. That was where I got saved. Really kind of started to learn about Jesus. And then I can't remember what's that?
What denomination was that?
That was a non-denominational church. That church was. Okay. So then probably at some point in that, like within a year of that happening, so I got saved and baptized when I was 15, and then I guess almost immediately after, shortly after, it was before I was 16. My mom moved to a different city, and so I couldn't jump on that bus anymore. So when I would hang out with my dad, and the only reason I know it was because it was before I was 16 was because once I was 16, I moved in with my dad. So I know it was before then. So my mom moved to a different city, and so I started, since I was with my dad on weekends, I started going to church with my grandma on Sundays, and that was at a Baptist church. Now, I kept going to that Baptist church on Sundays until I joined the Army when I was 17. And so that was the church that actually kind of pushed me out of going to church. They really were like that traditional, angry, savage Baptist church that would try to push individual convictions on everyone. And so, I would get told like my hair was long, so I must not have ever actually been saved, or the music I listened to was evil and worldly, so I must not have ever actually been saved, and X, Y, and Z was wrong, and I must not have ever actually been saved. And after I heard that for in my head a lot, it really started kind of convincing me that maybe I wasn't ever actually saved. And so I kind of started walking away from the church, like started really struggling with the fact that I didn't understand, I guess, those feelings. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I was never actually touched the way that I thought I was. And then went to basic training. And so, in the Army, especially through basic training, I didn't really have a choice of church that I wanted to go to. I had to go to, I signed up to go to the church service on Sundays, because you could either go to church on Sunday or you could have like an hour of reflective time on Sundays. And I signed up to go to church. I started going to this gospel church, which I'd never heard of a gospel church before, but apparently it's one where the preacher basically goes, "Oh, yeah," and then somebody's like playing the piano behind him, like in tune with what he's saying and everything. And it's kind of wild. But that kind of became a joke to me, and so I just kind of completely like just walked away from church at that point. And I would say I stayed away from church for a long time until I was about, well, not for a long time, for a couple of years, until I was about 20, 21. Definitely, it would have been while I was in Afghanistan. I kind of really started thinking about my faith again. Came back from Afghanistan, still didn't do a whole lot of things right, but I had this friend who was stationed in Hawaii with me. And he's actually, if you guys have ever watched any of my reaction videos, he's actually the graphic designer who did the opening sequence that I put in my videos with the field and the trees and the like that whole thing. It was that guy. This guy would constantly, so he would invite me over to his house for game night and stuff like that. He always had friends over at his house for, just a family game night, different board games, munchkins, weird board games. And became a really good friend of this guy. And he kind of knew some of the struggles that I'd had with church. And so he would always try to get me to go with him. He would come and tap on my barracks window at 9:00 in the morning when he knew I was dead ass hungover and stuff, and like drag me out of bed to go to church with him. And so I appreciate that guy. And then we would go, football in Hawaii happens really early because, it's, so like if you want to watch one of the games that kicks off at like 1 p.m., right? It's 6 hours earlier in Hawaii. So it happens at 7 a.m. So you got to be up at 6 a.m. and head over to like Buffalo Wild Wings or something if you want to watch the game out. And so he would tap on my room door at like 6 a.m. or something to go out. We would go have a couple of drinks watching the early games, and then we'd go to church after, and stuff like that. That was when I started getting back and thinking about church again. And I started kind of getting into Catholicism at that time because I've skipped through all this. He was kind of into non-denominational looks, but he would go to churches all over. And there was a Catholic church that we went to one day that kind of really stuck. And it was more that logical approach to faith that Catholics have that really kind of brought my brain back into actually studying my faith again. And that was one thing when I was younger that I really missed was actually studying what I believed in. I knew that I believed in it. I knew it evoked an emotional response from me, but I didn't necessarily understand what I believed. And so kind of that process of study, whether it was learning about the patron saints and stuff like that, that's not necessarily biblical, or if it was just actually studying the Bible, studying, even the Apocrypha and stuff like that, that all kind of like rooted me back into actually having an understanding. And so from there, I kind of internalized and it became, I started really, really studying on my own a lot more and actually developing my understanding of God, my understanding of Jesus, my understanding of church and faith and so forth. And then I would say if you fast forward to, it would have been 2018 was when I actually really got back into a church. So over that span of time, I would say, I visited churches and stuff like that. I never had a church that I really considered like my home church or anything. And then 2018 would have been when I when I really kind of found that home church, and again went back to a non-denominational church, which was where I had originally been saved and where I was originally, I guess, very comfortable. And that was the one that I became active in as an adult. But yeah, that was a lot of talking. That may have been the most I talked about anything at once.
Yeah, well, it's also very interesting because I was born and raised Catholic, and talking to people that came into Catholicism at a later point in their life always fascinates me. Like, there's somebody that I know on here that grew up not believing in God and walked into a Catholic cathedral and was struck by the beauty and the awe and had the epiphany of going and getting into religion. And it always fascinates me how people come about their religion in the church.
Right.
I see you, Menace.
I mean, that's a good reason, though, Menace.
Yep.
Hey, you ain't got to go to a Catholic church for that, though. Non-denominational churches got it too.
Mm-hmm. You just got to find the right one. But Catholics believe in their wine and their partying.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like I said, when you actually study the history of the church, when you actually study the timeline of how the church, and by the church I'm talking about the all-encompassing body of Christ, when you look at the evolution of it, how it changed over time, the Catholic Church was the original Christian denomination of a church. To be a Christian is just to follow the path of Christ. When it comes to the first established denomination or whatever of that, it would have been the Catholic Church. Now, I'm not saying that the Catholic Church is the right church,
right?
But I am saying that it was the original. When it comes, you cannot be a Baptist, a Methodist, an Episcopalian. You can't be any of those and claim to have came from something that did not come from Catholicism.
Right. I think the only religions out there that did not come from Catholicism was Judaism and maybe Mormonism.
Well, so Mormonism still would have because they just added more later, but so they still would have had that Western religion came through the Catholic Church. When it comes to Western Christianity, it came through the Catholic Church. Now, Judaism doesn't fall into Western religion. Judaism is an Eastern Orthodox religion, and it predates Christianity because they say that Christ was a liar. So Judaism predates Christianity is a separate thing. It's not a denomination of it. That's what I'm talking about. So non-denominational, I mean, you can say that a non-denominational look at Christianity, when you purely look at the Bible and your relationship with God, that predates Christianity because that is actually what we were given and told to do. But when you look at Catholicism was the first established body. And I'm not saying that it was wrong for establishing a body, but I am saying that so literally fall in a Cliff's Notes version. If you go from Catholicism reigned for a long time until Martin Luther posted his 99 Theses around the year 1500 because he couldn't understand the church services that were in Latin, and he knew that the Roman Catholic Church was corrupt, and then he wanted to split away. He started Lutheranism, which was the first Protestant denomination, turned into Protestantism, turned into Baptists, turned into Methodists, turned into Lutherans, turned into, literally all of the Christian denominations. Those all came from the Protestant Reformation. And that all broke away from the Catholic Church. So either way, even if you're saying yes, but they were in opposition to the Catholic Church, it doesn't matter. They came from the Catholic Church.
Yeah. Just like Jesus was a Jew and he didn't come to start a new religion. He came to reform the Jewish religion because of the corruption that had been instilled in it.
Yeah, because Judaism... Well, no. So the church was corrupt. Yes, the church was corrupt. They rebuked Jesus. Jesus came to give us a new covenant. He gave us a path to salvation that didn't require us to be perfect or make burnt offerings. Right.
Well, that's the difference in the religious philosophies. Is with Catholics, we were taught that Jesus was born Jewish. He never meant to start a new religion. He wanted to reform the Jewish religion, and they wouldn't listen.
Well, that's not wrong.
Right.
That's not different than what I said.
To a degree, it's different.
I don't think so.
Because you said he came to bring about a reformation and basically to
No,
start a new
he
religion.
came to give us a new covenant,
New
absolutely.
covenant.
And that's the thing. He knew that he was going to die. I mean, we're
Mhm.
told that in the Bible, and it was
Right.
prophesied that he would die. But the
Right.
fact is, he still tried to fix the Jewish church, absolutely,
True.
while he was alive.
True. But also, to some of the things that are said in the comments, Namson, I know for a fact you haven't partied with Catholics because you said that you know for a fact that Catholics don't know how to party, because many Catholic parties or functions, they serve beer as well as wine.
And fish
So,
fries.
yep. And then Larry calls them fractions. Menace
Feel that.
says, I'm a Hindu Hebrew by birthright, which is pretty cool. Jesus broke bread with sinners, whores, and addicts. Completely true.
Absolutely.
And the church shunned him, yes. And I am too, Namson. I'm telling you, the Catholics here have parties. You just haven't been to the South Catholics,
I
the
love it
Southern
when you
Catholics.
and I love it when you and Nampy fight about Catholicism.
Yeah,
Hey,
the
them
biggest.
girls can party, Menace. I'm just saying, you ain't got to do it when you're younger either. You can get the married
Yep,
ones today, and they'll still party.
yep. And the biggest mistake my parents ever made was telling me once I got confirmed Catholic, then I'm an adult in the eyes of the church, and I can do what I want, when I want, how I want. So I immediately went and got confirmed and quit going to church because I have a problem walking into the church and feeling the hypocrisy of the people in the church. Whereas during the
Yeah, but
week, they go out and do whatever the fuck they want to just to come to church on Saturday for confession so that Sunday they go to church and feel absolved of all their sins.
let me ask you a question though, and this
Mhm.
is a serious question. This is not just
Mhm.
for you. This is for anybody who has that stance. Why do you care about what the other people in church are doing though?
Well,
Like to
it
me,
gives me a physical pain in my body walking in and feeling the hypocrisy of the people within there.
yeah, but here's the thing, and this is the stance that I very much hold, man. It doesn't matter if you're going to a Catholic church or what kind of church. There's always hypocrites in there. There are people who are doing the wrong thing, whatever, and that's on them to deal with God about. But like
Sure.
my thing is, and this is what I always tell my wife because she gets kind of nitpicky sometimes. We'll be in church and she'll be like, I can't believe this person's doing that and that person's doing this. I do not, when I go into church, I do not give a fuck what one person is doing in that church. I'm there for my time with God, not even, and I know I don't have to be there, but literally I can go into church, I can turn off my phone, I can literally shut out the world, read my Bible, hang out, pray for a little while, listen to somebody preach about God for a little while, maybe open my ears and eyes up to something that I haven't considered before. And I know that all the other people who are going to talk to me in this church that are going to walk up to me, they're there for the same thing. Even if they're not, it doesn't matter. If they talk to me and interact with me, we're going to be interacting on that same playing field for the most part. And so when it comes down to it, I don't care if you're fucking like 5 chicks on the side behind your wife's back or whatever. You're not going to take away what I'm in that church for. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I feel you. I was kind of reading the chat at the same time as you were talking about that, but yeah, with me personally, I've hold to the belief of the Bible where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am.
No,
So
I
I don't
agree.
feel the need to go to the church. I would rather talk to people in general
I don't have,
about their faith and religion
yeah,
and have the discussion about God
I get
instead
that.
of going where it's forced upon you.
I get that, and I hear that a lot. But my thing is like, I do too. I mean, I would much rather talk to people about God. I would rather, much rather have a Bible study with people with like-minded believers and stuff like that instead. But even in addition to all that, what is the sacrifice of spending a couple of hours on Sunday morning or whenever and just hanging out for a minute and putting yourself in an environment where it is about God? That's the only thing to me. I'm not saying that you have
Right.
to, but what I'm
Right.
saying is I don't understand why so many people want to look at it as an either or thing when you can absolutely still do that. You can still be you, you can still be independent, you can still whatever you're looking for, you can do all those things and still, wake up, go spend a couple of hours where literally you put the whole world, your phone and everything aside for an hour or two and just pray and just spend that time with God. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you have to be
Right.
in a church for that to happen, but I'm saying
Hmm.
it helps.
I feel you. And for me, I get more out of like coming to the Discord and talking with people about religion rather than going to the
Yeah,
church.
I do
That's
too.
just me.
I do too, but I still go to church. No,
I
and
got
and I'll say
thing
this
coming.
to Nappy's point there too. Um, I only go to small churches. I don't go to bigger churches or masses or anything like that. It's like I said the other day. Um, this Sunday when I got in the church, there were only 5 people there. And granted, that's because a lot of people in my area are sick right now, and a lot of people were out, missed church because they were sick and whatever. But there were only 5 people there. And it's like, personally, though, I like that because you get a minute too, and you get to stop and BS. Me and the pastor were talking after. He was telling me about his 25th birthday, or not 25th, 21st birthday when he went and got like a 32-ounce steak and a boot of beer. My bad. And it's like, I'm not saying you got to go with people who are just like, you know, you don't have to go into a church building. That's not the point
Right.
that I'm trying to make. Anybody who's had
Mhm.
this conversation with me knows that I don't think that you have to. I
Right.
don't think it's beneficial. I just personally, I like that time because I go to a smaller church too, where I am able to have more of that connection, where I am able to kind of poke holes later and maybe, uh, you know, talk to the pastor if they said something I don't agree with or don't understand or something like that. I like that environment though
Hmm.
more than anything because even if I tune out the preaching, even if I don't pay attention to a word that is said and just sit and sing a couple of hymns along or something and pray for an entire service, that's at least an hour that my phone is not in my face, like dinging at me, notifications, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean?
Right. I feel you. Um, so to what Savannah says, when you are saved, you are to follow God and live by His word and not straddle the fence.
Yeah.
I don't see it as straddling the fence by having conversations with people about God
I don't think
and
that's what
not
she
going
meant.
to a church.
I don't think that that's what she meant. I
Okay,
don't think she would.
what is your
I
interpretation?
Well, I think she was just saying that's what you're called to do. I don't think that she was implying that doing otherwise is. I don't think she was saying that not going to church isn't living by God's word. I mean, because literally in the Bible, we're not told anywhere that we have to go to church. What Catholics are doing is straddling the fence. I don't think so. I mean, how so? I guess that would be my question is how do you perceive that Catholics are straddling the fence? Yeah,
I'm
absolutely, Menace.
right. I believe that too. What Menace says, and I'm wondering about Savannah's ideas and topics there.
So you're forgiven on Sunday. do anything he wants. I don't think that's true. I don't think Catholics really, at least not in my experience, don't actually believe that. That's what a lot of people say about Catholics. Um, I mean, the fact is, when it comes to Catholics, a lot of Catholics are just like a lot of people from any other denomination. Because I know plenty of Baptists who believe that they get the pass for going to church on Sunday, you know, or Methodists or Episcopalians or anything.
Right.
And you know, it's not an inherently Catholic thing to say to hold that stance, you know. Um, it's unfortunately a thing that a lot of Christians kind of present and walk
Right.
through. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Larry. Like, Reese is a Catholic. She's very strict and prays a lot. If you know a very devout Catholic, like if you've ever been around a very devout Catholic, honestly, I mean, look at nuns. You know what I'm saying? Like, perfect example. Look at nuns. They don't do anything else.
Right.
Like, so you know, it's not an inherently Catholic belief. It's just a thing that Christians do, you know?
I also like what Nampy said there. I really enjoy the fact that everyone here is engaging in healthy religious conversation with absolutely no animosity.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That should always be the goal. Heart for God, as long as you put God first. Absolutely. Fast with her on Lent and all. That's dope. I used to fast every Lent. And then I kind of did a study a few years ago where I kind of came around on fasting, and I was like, honestly, unless I'm led by the Spirit, it's not that I don't fast on Lent. It's that I don't fast unless I really feel led to fast anytime. How we're on the Devil's platform talking about God. I mean, let's go, dog. That's what I'm saying.
And we need more of that here.
Not the nuns that raised me. And there are bad apples in every bunch, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so, and I'm not doubting that you had a negative experience with that. What I am saying is that's not reflective of the entire Catholic Church, you know.
Right. Catholics
Just
get a
trying to
bad
share
rap,
knowledge. Absolutely.
but they also do a lot of good for their communities. There's a lot of programs that help the less fortunate that they have, like um, um, St. Vincent de Paul and other programs that run to help the less fortunate.
Yeah. I'm a pig, so I'm always down to sacrifice bad things for God, for sure. I feel that though. Yo, I'll tell you this. A few years ago, I think it might have been 2020 actually. I may have been on YouTube at this period. What up, Lori? I went we have this topic conversation all the time, Savannah. I
Yeah.
highly doubt that YouTube will flag it, but I mean they may, but whatever.
No, fuck 'em.
Anyway, 2020, it was in 2020 for Lent. I was still fasting Lent regularly and everything. And I did the dumbest thing, because usually like I'll give up like steaks or seafood or something, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Lent came around in 2020 and I said, I'm going to fast nicotine.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did nicotine and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, man, I am not the person that you want to be around when I have zero nicotine or alcohol consistently for more than like more than a day, let's say. Like I can
Right.
do without one, fine, because I regularly will go days without drinking. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not even a thing. But alcohol and nicotine at the same time, just like shock to your body, like fuck that, we're not
Mm-hmm.
doing this. Man, I was
Yep.
angry. I was an
Oh yeah.
angry person at that point.
Yeah. I gave up alcohol for a long time. I only drink on occasions, but tobacco I can't give up. The minute says, "Boo, this man! You don't ever give up steaks." I'm gonna start calling Tyler Shimmy Jimmy.
I said I have like a few times here and there. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think I've given up steaks in a long time. I had like a 2-month stint last year where I was like, okay, maybe I'm eating too much red meat. And so I stopped eating red meat period for a couple of months. Like I just ate chicken a lot. I want to say that was like, I can't remember which 2 months it was. I know it was last year. Anyway, after that, I immediately went over to the carnivore diet because I was like, fuck that. We need more red meat. We need all red meat.
Right.
Fuck it. I'm just not going to eat anything but red meat now.
Right.
I actually don't eat pork anymore, though. I stopped eating pork after Thanksgiving. I stopped eating pork, and I haven't had any since that Thanksgiving ham.
And Lori says I don't smoke or drink, or give up red meat.
Yeah. Don't smoke, drink, or give up my meat. Fair enough. I agree, Menace. I don't buy anything from like Walmart and shit like that. I only buy local meat. And it hits completely different when you buy local meat.
Right.
It's kind of purple.
So I got a few of the funny questions for you.
Questions.
Knowing that you love your food, and
wow, call me fat without calling me fat, Jay. Thanks.
You're welcome. And that you do like to grill a lot. What's your favorite food to grill?
To grill or to smoke?
Well, we'll go grill and then smoke.
So to grill, honestly, I'm a big fan of ribeye. Well, no, you know what? Like to grill, honestly, lately, chicken legs. I'm gonna be honest because I've perfected the chicken leg with like a nice crispy outside with a good juicy fucking steamy watery fucking inside. Okay, now smoking. Roxy knows already. Roxy knows when it comes to my smoked meat, it's gonna be a tomahawk ribeye if your boy's got his choice. Okay?
Right.
If it's not a tomahawk ribeye, it's probably some beef ribs, or it's gonna be. I love to smoke anything, honestly, but yeah, a tomahawk ribeye is hands down my favorite. And honestly, the tomahawk is kind of unfair. Like that's my favorite. That's my specialty. Like we do 3 hours on the smoker, right, at extremely low heat. I know what you're thinking. It's not going to be medium rare, but it is. We do 3 hours at extremely low heat. Get that smoked flavor, that good smoky applewood flavor all up in that tomahawk, and then we take that tomahawk over to the grill, give it a nice little crust on that bitch. That's my favorite.
And Menace says smoked macaroni and cheese, hands down, is the best shit ever.
Yo, have you ever had smoked cream cheese though? That shit is awesome. I've been making that shit. You smoke a block of cream cheese for 2 hours, and you basically you put a rub on it like you would pork or something like that, or ribs or something. And then when you've got like an hour left, you put a glaze on it, just like you would ribs or something like that. You know, run it about 3 hours. That bitch comes out amazing. Like it takes cream cheese to the next fucking level, dog. I'm telling you.
And Roxy said smoked pizzas.
Oh yeah. No, Roxy turned me on to smoking pizza, and I've been doing pizza on my smoker this year. I've done it like 4 times now this year, and fucking smoked pizza hits different, bro, and it's good as fuck though.
So, if you had your choice, peanut butter and jelly or mac and cheese?
Peanut butter and jelly. I don't like pasta. I don't eat bread.
Okay. I'd actually said that wrong. I was supposed to say or grilled cheese, peanut butter and jelly or grilled cheese.
By itself?
Yeah.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Cool.
If it's with soup or something, I don't know. If it's with vegetable soup, still just peanut butter. And then if it's with chili, grilled cheese. If you don't make a peanut butter sandwich with your vegetable soup, then you ain't cool.
Asian or Italian food?
Asian. Again, I don't like pasta, and so Italian's mostly pasta.
Mm-hmm.
And Asian food, like I lived throughout Asia for about 3 years straight, and my entire like diet changed during that time period. So I'm gonna say Asian food is the best.
Now, that's something we didn't talk about with your military service and where you've lived while you were in the military.
Lived and or visited.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, let's see, let's just go in order. Arizona, Hawaii, Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan, Germany, Japan, and then Kentucky's kind of boring. Oh, and Kuwait.
Nice.
But some of those were short stops. I did
Yeah.
not live in Germany. Oh, in Ireland.
Right. Where was your favorite place to visit in the military or being?
I like aspects of every place I've been, honestly. Japan was really cool from a cultural aspect, and in terms of food, in terms of just like hospitality. I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed Japan. Honestly, man, Hawaii was like I hated Hawaii when I was there, but looking back, Hawaii was pretty fantastic. There are a lot of things that I find myself consistently missing about Hawaii.
Okay. Namson gave us cilantro, by the way.
Nappy gave the cilantro. Cilantro. I would say my favorite place, though, while I set this up, favorite, absolute, hands down, the place that stole my heart, that I 100% thought that I would move to when I got out of the army. Still don't understand how I didn't go back, how I didn't like settle there. Don't understand what course in my life changed. Cilantro, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Cilantro.
Arizona.
Nice.
I fucking love Arizona.
Savannah, cilantro is just for people to smoke, drink, whatever you do to be up. That's the whole point of it. I have a short about it from whenever I interviewed Nampy and the origins of the cilantro.
Yay, yay! Sláinte.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So, anybody have any questions for
Arizona
Alpha?
stole my heart.
Right.
Questions for Tyler. What y'all got? Larry made fried potato. What Larry make fried potatoes with? Hold up. 2 brownies. Damn, Larry about to be seeing God.
Right.
Y'all talking about sun tea. I ain't had sun tea in a long time. I don't have the patience to make it though. Like
So,
my thing is I make shit and I want it right away. I have a hard time fucking like, which is weird because I like to smoke meat and stuff, but it keeps me active because I go in like every 30 minutes and spray it or something. Well, not every 30 minutes, like every hour and spray it or something, you know.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lori
Hot
says
roast
she's
sounds
making
dope. I haven't made one of those in a while either. Woo!
she's making
Wagyu ribeyes. Let's go
yep,
though.
and fried taters. Yep. Okay. Does the chat have any questions for Alpha? Some of y'all may have just gotten here and didn't get the full rundown, so go for
Looking at this weird ass Fed pulling down my road right now.
it.
All right. Sorry, I had to see what's going on here.
Okay.
Had to peep the sitch, you know.
Right. Namson says he has a question for you. Waiting for him to type it out.
What you got, Nappy?
If you can own any dinosaur, which one would it be and why?
Damn. Okay, is it tame or not? Like, is it friendly to me? Okay, I'm going to answer both ways. If it is friendly to me, then I'm going to go with the Velociraptor to be my little guard dog. If it is not friendly to me, I'm probably going to want like a little Triceratops, but I got to kill that bitch before it gets too old because it's just going to be accidentally destructive when it gets older. But like while it's young and shit, so that it runs around like that, like Trina in the fucking Littlefoot movies. Them bitches are cute.
And Roxy had another question. When are we going to get a live DJ stream?
I've literally I've got to find the sound out. Actually, that was something I was thinking about the other day. So I'll say this. My content is going to shift before long. After the album's out, my content probably after the end of the year, my content is going to change up a little bit. So after the album, I don't know. I don't want to say too much right now, but like I want to shift kind of how I do content, and I want to do some of those things that I've kind of pushed to the sideline. I want to do Sierra and I were talking about like setting up my grill area so that I can do like some cooking videos. And then I have like my setup for like DJ streams and stuff like that figured out. I haven't figured out like the camera setups or how to fucking get the sound to go the way that I want it back into the stream. And so figuring those two things out are the last thing. As far as like the physical setup here, like how it's going to set up here, I've done all that. I've figured out like where I would do it, how I would do it, what the background would look like, all that. It's just figuring out the cameras and the audio thing. The other thing I like, and I'm not bullshitting. Last week I spent a day just watching DJs on Twitch to kind of figure out what they do. So I hit a bit of a roadblock. Twitch sent me an email one day last week and asked me about enrolling in the DJ program, which I'm not going to do. Because basically it fucks everything else up for your channel. And you can't do other kinds of content once you enroll in the DJ program and start doing dedicated DJ content. I think that I can still do DJ streams without doing dedicated DJ content. And so I'm gonna dip my toe in the water on that, and I'm going to make those happen. But I was watching people's streams just to kind of get an idea of what they're doing and like how they're setting it up and everything. And the thing is, like I'm almost nervous because I have an actual like functional DJ layout. You know, I use my synthesizer into my turntables into my sampler, and in terms of like the layout and how it looks, it's functional. It's not for show. And a lot of these dudes, they've got like stuffed animals up on a little spin table that they're not actually using and shit like that. And I'm like, this shit's weird as fuck though. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever clicked on the DJ tab in Twitch. Like a lot of those people, everything is purely about look. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not going to deter me. It's just like, I'm looking at them and I'm like, to a certain extent, I do have to compete with them. So I've got to get some lot strips and everything going on grounds and stuff like that, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I think I've got a good idea with it all. Twitch's new DJ pilot program is a little confusing to me. I don't think I'm going to enroll in it well, I know I'm not going to enroll in it at any point because I wouldn't be able to do other kinds of content if I enrolled in it. But Yeah, they will be coming soon. I would say after the first of the year is when that stuff like that's going to start happening, because I'm basically after the album drops, which will be Halloween, I'm basically spending the rest of this year prepping things for next year.
Nice. And to Roxy's comment there, no, I did not pay her to ask you that question.
I'm sure.
Menace asks,
I'm
what do you
sure.
charge for a DJ set?
It depends, honestly, man. Like, it depends who it is. So my typical prices are packages that start at $600. But if it's like to DJ for my friends or something like that, I don't I don't charge the same rate. I'll just say that, and I'll say talk to me offline. But like anybody who's looking to book me for a wedding, for a party, for whatever, it starts at $600 and then goes up depending on what all is involved, how long the event is, and what all we need and stuff. So,
And to Fireman's comment, that's one of the things that drives Alpha nuts. He will
oh yeah,
rant for hours on people like Marshmallow and them.
yeah, yeah. I don't like that, and that's part of the problem, man. Like. Looking around at these people, honestly, when I watch them do this shit, I'm just like, you're literally just sit and play and then adjusting your levels. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's disappointing to me, man. That like
Right.
it's hard for me to want to come into that environment because that's what people are conditioned to see. And I very much DJ with an old school mentality. Like, yeah, I can do the mixes like they're doing. That's fucking easy. You can do
Right.
that with two fucking media players.
Right.
The point that gets on my nerves is like a lot of people aren't looking for scratches. They're not looking for juggles. They're not looking for anything that is unique or bringing something about. They just want two songs played together. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
it's I don't know if I don't know how to go, but yes, after the first of the year for sure. If not before then, 100% there will be DJ streams on Twitch.
Cool.
And then
I had a question to piggyback on that. On your album, do you have any beats that you've made and or scratched on or done any DJing with?
so on my album, there are now we don't have I don't have like the final pieces, stuff like that. As of
Mm-hmm.
right now, no, there's nothing that I'm scratching on. That's not to say that there won't be. It's just that none of the songs are at that point yet. On the album, as far as beats that I've made, there are let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 that Tech made, 13 that Tech made, one that Jim made, one that I remixed,
Mm-hmm.
and then two that are kind of in a weird place.
Okay. Menace says, when are you sending me that song for the album?
That's a good question.
I love that answer.
So I haven't like here's the thing. So with this, and I was talking to Nampy about this last night. With this, I'm very much doing this in like the older style of doing more than I think I'm gonna need, and then cutting for the album. And I'm also one thing I really wanted to do is just in case, like, say I hit up somebody for a feature and they have a car crash and go into a coma for 5 weeks or something.
Right.
I wanted to make sure that every song in the album, in the event that nobody were to feature on the album, every song is complete by me before I send it to anybody, so that then I can just subtract out a verse that I did and put their verse in its place if they end up featuring on it. So I haven't gotten to the point of sending anybody a song for a verse yet, but I need to, because the one that I have for you, actually the one that I have for you, I do have at a point where I have everything that I would do if I did it by myself. Because I tried to front load those songs and finish them up first. So it won't be too long because I'm like I said, I mean, it's going to drop before too long. It'll be in a couple of weeks. So I think I did a timeline for myself. I know I'm an old man. I still use notebooks, but I did a timeline for myself the other day. I would say like the first couple of weeks of September are when I'm going to start harassing people for features and stuff for the songs that I want to do as collabs. Because the deadline that I have for myself on that is the 17th of September.
So your answer is soon.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you want to play for the audience of yours?
Not really. I mean, unless you want me to play something. Yeah, but I haven't factored that in yet because I still don't have stems. So that's on here too. But again, I need something.
Right. So basically what I'm hearing is that if you've been tapped by Alpha to be a feature, just harass him.
Well, don't harass me, but just know that out of the blue, I'm gonna send you something one day.
Mm-hmm. So be on the lookout. Jason says, "All right, I got you."
No, actually, I lied. I'm pretty sure I do have that one on here. Yeah, I do have that one on here. I didn't name it when I was talking about beats, though, because I don't have a check mark next to the beat because I don't have the beat for it. But yeah, it's right there.
Cool. But yeah, when I was asking if you had anything you wanted to play for the audience, I was just hoping that maybe you had something you wanted to play to let them hear your musical presence and or a taste for the album. So people would be.
No, I mean, there are a lot of unfinished things that I could send or I could play, but like that's the thing, man. Nothing's done. I mean, I can play the last time that I checked remix again, but you've heard it.
Fine.
It's not mixed.
What up, Vinny? Roxy says as soon as Big Buzz learns to use email.
Let me find where I fucking have this.
Right.
So this isn't a final song at all. It's not mixed. And it's got like I've got like 3 retakes on it that I still need to do because I pushed it off after the last time I said that.
Mm-hmm.
And started working on other stuff.
Right.
Hold on.
I got you.
Who's a Nipsey fan?
I don't know. Any Nipsey fans?
Let me see if this is the right one. All right. As soon as Big Buzz learns to use email, that's never gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
If there's one thing that I know in this world is that Buzz is never gonna learn how to use his email.
Right.
All right, let's see. Let me see if I remember how to do this on StreamYard. Oh yeah, on StreamYard I have to share the whole fucking desktop, right? And we have to mute.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
Huh?
Well, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I believe so. The muting makes the sound a little bit better.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, let me share my screen and audio then. So this is super rough. It's not finished at all. Like I said, there's still a few retakes in here, but this is if you're a Nipsey fan, you'll probably know what it's a remix of. Let's go.
And this is to give you all a taste.
Wait, what?
I was saying this is to give everybody a taste of what's coming.
Yup.
Last time that I checked, it was my chains on my neck. It was no smut on my rep. Last time that I checked, I was doing things you ain't yet. Grinding every inch that I get. Last time that I checked, got the streets pulsing my vest. Legendary self-made progress. Last time that I checked, first you get the money, then respect, then the power and the goals come next. Last time that I checked, I've been self-made from the dribble. I've been saying I'm a killer. Playing no games with you bitches. Pop clutch, switch lanes on you bitches. I will play the game for you bitches. Taught you how to charge more than what they paid for you bitches. Taught the whole game to you bitches. Reinvest, double up, then explain for you bitches. It was just a matter of time. Post it up, I guess it's just a matter of grind. Matter of mind, doesn't matter how you flatter, I find. Fools who don't matter, gonna gather the wine. Shattered on wine, but I'm flattered, it's fine. Everything I've gathered is mine. Thinking that they can gather my shine. It doesn't matter to mine. Mind over matter in time. We'll be fine till then. Me and mine gonna time that I checked. It was my chains on my neck. It was no smut on my rep. Last time that I checked, I was doing things you ain't yet. Grinding every inch that I get. Last time that I checked, got the streets pulsing my vest. Legendary self-made progress. Last time that I checked, first you get the money, then respect, and the power and the goals come next. Last time that I come through fly, no cosign. I ain't need a big bro to do mine. I done fine and I take my time, take my tribe like Nipsey. Always knew I had to climb. I'm a visionary running with dreamers, and the real is daily. And if you know me, then you know that I deliver, baby. When I deliver, bet you know I made a massive statement. Cause I remember working hard not to miss a payment. But some hoes ain't got that mindset. Claim they out here, they just looking for a blank check. Acting suspect, trying to change the subject. Keep it blunt, yeah, remember coming up. This is how you end up in penthouses, end up in cars. It's how you start off curb serving and end up a boss. It's how you win the whole thing and lift up a cigar with sweat dripping down your face. Cause the mission last time that I checked, it was my chains on my neck. It was no smut on my rep. Last time that I checked, I was doing things you ain't yet. Grinding every inch that I get. Last time that I checked, got the streets pulsing my vest. Legendary self-made progress. Last time that I checked, first you get the money, then respect, then the power and the goals come next. Last time that I checked, making moves on the daily. Ain't a single player in my crew acting shady. Bitches on the tube staying crazy. Thinking passing you means they made it. I've been keeping layers to go. Circle full of players to show. Missing all the stayers of old. Spraying the nose. Making sure they stay in the ghost. They told me I should stay praying for those displaying a pose. Fuck 'em. Gotta keep it in check. Homie Neppy got me staying laid back. And last time that I checked, little Jimmy J became a threat. Tech waiting on deck. Last time that I checked, Jason J killing this mess. Whole team stay grabbing them checks, slaying the best. And don't forget about all of them affiliated threats. Menacing true mob United States. Last time that I checked, it was my chains on my neck. It was no smut on my rep. Last time that I checked, I was doing things you ain't yet. Grinding every inch that I get. Last time that I checked, got the streets pulsing my vest. Legendary self-made progress. Last time that I checked, first you get the money and respect, and the power and the goals come next. Last time that I checked. Yeah!
That's just how we do, man.
Alrighty. I want to make you put on one of your many hats.
Yeah.
I want you, as a reaction channel, to react to that.
Oh, to react to that, I would have to pause several times because there are a lot of places where I jumbled in that. Hence, that's what I'm saying. Like there's at least 3 points in that I know for a fact. I have to retake a couple of things. So if I'm going back, like structurally, basically both of the places that I was kind of up in my tempo and kind of crossing themes. So there's one in the first verse and there's one in the third verse. Where my words got jumbled in the take because that was initially that was only meant to be my reference take, and then I kind of liked how it sounded. I said I was going to build off of it and use it as my lead. So I did everything in that in one take with a double take. So that's just 2 takes. There's the lead that goes through the whole track, and then there's the double that goes through the whole track. And then I did one take for the hook, and just kind of like while I was doing the lead and the double, kind of did some layers for the hook inside those that I haven't chopped off and separated yet. So for that, as a reactor, I would ding myself on the hook a lot, because the hook is in no way like finished and ready. The verses, like I said, there's those 2 points where my vocals got jumbled that have to be retaken before that song is finished.
Right.
And so what that's going to turn into is splitting those off and just layering. I'm going to do a stab. I'm probably going to take out that section and run a stab or run a punch to punch in the end of the first thought and the beginning of the second thought, where they kind of overlap a little bit. And then there's one place at the beginning where it sounds like I'm stretching the word dreamer a little bit, and it's because it's supposed to be running with the real ones and the dreamers daily, so that it keeps that cadence going on. But I stretched out the word dreamers when I was recording that take, and so that's why it sounds kind of awkward and stretched right there. That I would ding myself on. And overall, I would say the song is rough. Again, it's not mixed, and so it sounds rough, and it is rough. And I would say those issues right there. And then there's at the very end, going into the last hook, it's kind of hard to make out what I was saying in that piece, but I got to go back and retake that too.
Okay. Just the reasoning behind that is to get people to understand that when you give criticism, you criticize yourself just as much as anybody else. And that
I criticize myself more than anyone else.
True.
That's why I have plenty of songs that haven't been released.
True. And the fact that your criticisms aren't coming from a place of negativity, it's to help the artist that you're reacting to, right?
Right.
Now, I have another couple of questions real quick. For those of us that are not into the recording aspect, the engineering, whatever, what is the difference between a punch and a stab?
So a stab is going to be basically you go over and you record the whole song, like a vocal take for the whole song, but you only record the last half of each verse. That way, when you get to the points where you would have been winded on your lead or on your double, you get that fresh sound so that it stays strong throughout. You end up wanting to blend the stab into your lead vocals to make it kind of sound like one voice, because it's really just to strengthen those points that you would have been weak when you were rapping it.
Okay.
And a punch is just where you come back and say, like, you fucked up a word or a couple of words or something, and you just want to record those words and then cut them and put them in that spot in the final recording. You would punch them in instead of just retaking the whole verse or something.
Nice. Roxy said, well, he isn't buried under the music. Which is something that you give people a lot of criticism for when they send in their music and they're new to your channel. Is a lot of the times they'll be either buried under the beat, or they'll be too far over the beat to where you can't hear it.
Yeah, getting lost in the instrumental and such.
Mm-hmm. So if anybody else has any more questions.
I think we scared them off. They heard that song and they were like, this shit ass, dog.
No, we stayed at 10 and 11 viewers according to YouTube, and we all know how accurate that goes.
Right on.
And we're coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Nice.
Right.
2 hours is usually when you cut it, yeah?
Usually. Hey, Tony Tuba, what's up? Anybody have questions? Jason says he's about to send you beat stems.
Right on.
And Roxy says that's her biggest complaint about music is when it's drowned out.
It's funny. So my dad's always said that my dad's always been like, especially with a lot of stuff that I used to do, because I used to do a lot of heavier experimental stuff and stuff. You know, when you get into prog rock and shit like that, like by necessity, the instrumentals are just louder. And my dad has always, like, he would listen to shit that I used to listen to, like Slipknot or something, and he'd be like, they have to bury their voice because they don't know how to sing. And it's like, no, it's just the style of music that it is, Dad. Like, stop it. It's got its place, you know what I'm saying? I agree with Roxy in some aspects, in that, like, some people bury themselves, and it bugs me when I hear it, especially in hip hop, because hip hop's not really a genre that lends itself to that very well. But there are places where artistically there is a purpose, because I mean, there are genres of music like gent. You know, if you go to gent, your voice should be treated, especially for mixing purposes, your vocals should be treated like an additional instrument in the mix, more than, you know, how you would traditionally just set up a separate vocal mix. I'm not saying that you don't do a separate vocal mix still with gent, but you almost have to look at the voice as another instrument in that mix, you know. Some overuse auto-tune way too much, and others don't auto-tune as much as they should. I agree with that to a certain extent. So there are a lot of people who overuse auto-tune. I would say when you get into people who don't use it as much as they should, that's almost entirely an independent artist issue, where they have been taught that, oh, auto-tune is evil and I don't want to use auto-tune. I don't like auto-tune. Auto-tune is a part of music. Pitch correction is necessary in your mix. If you're not pitch correcting yourself, then your mix is not good. So you know, the bottom line comes down to, there has to be some pitch correction involved in what you're doing. Period.
Right. Now, Menace asks how much you charge to DJ. How much do you charge to mix for people?
Again, that depends on availability and stuff like that, because that's not my primary role. If it's an artist that I'm going to work with a lot, significantly less. If it's somebody just looking for a mix blindly, right around 40 to 60, depending on how busy I am.
Nice.
Per track. If it's a whole album, then I usually drop the price a little bit. It's something that will vary, though, depending on if you want a quicker turnaround time, if you know, whatever we're looking at, typically between 40 and 60.
So you try to be reasonable.
Yeah, depending on what specifically somebody's looking for, though. But I also won't take your project if I don't have time to do it.
Jason says, unlike Buzz, I know how to use email, so check yours for the beat stems. He says he's going to send over in a separate email the vocals.
Right on. Make sure you send me the one that, or as you're working on it too. I just for the beat, for the stems to the beat specifically, I just want to save those so that I can start looking at anything that I want to tweak in it for the final or whatever. But I didn't have the stems to this point, was the only reason I mentioned it.
Now, something else that just came to mind that we haven't talked about is Thursday Night Records.
Thursday Night Records.
Let's talk about that.
Thursday nights. Well, it's the only place to be.
Well, Thursday nights is the only place to be on Twitch, because you're moving away from YouTube on your reaction channels. But Thursday Night Records, the concept behind that.
The concept behind it, I mean, so Thursday nights, if you go back initially, I started doing ATRL on Thursday nights because I was friends with a lot of content creators, and they all had their Friday night streams and their Saturday night streams and such. And I've never been somebody that wants to still from my friends, and so I picked Thursday nights kind of as the night that I would stream, because who the fuck wants to stream on a Thursday night? It's the middle of the week. It's people got to work. They can't stay up too late. People getting off work. They don't start too early, and so I picked Thursday nights initially, way back like 4 years ago, as the consistent night that I would go live and do reactions and stuff. Pretty much to make sure that I wasn't like stepping on toes for anybody else in the community or taking views away from anybody else in the community. And as that kind of came around and it turned into a thing where we wanted to set up a website to kind of benefit everybody who had been a part of that, whether it was, to put a place for independent artists to, come online, purchase some beats from Tech, or a mix from me or Nampy, or what CDs that I've put out, CDs that Jason's put out, CDs that Nampy's put out, whatever the case. We wanted a place to kind of put that, and so I started thinking about, what are we going to name the business, the brand that it's associated with. And Thursday nights just kind of made the most sense, because that was the consistent community day, because that's even if I don't go live a single time in a week, I'll still be live on Thursday night, and so Thursday night it just kind of became that rock of the community through no intent. It just happened. And it only made sense to name the brand of the community Thursday Night Records. And so that's where the name and the idea came from,
And it has been called a label, but it's more of a collective of people.
Yeah,
because you don't charge to be a member or anything, right?
No, 100% not. Like, anybody who's got their stuff put out through it, whatever, like, it's your money, any cut that comes out of it on the end of Thursday nights is literally just to pay for promotion, distribution, what have you, of the artist's stuff. So
right.
No, as far as like me taking money, I'm not going to take money from somebody else.
Right. Is there a? I'm trying to think of how to word it. Is there something that people have to do to be a member of Thursday nights?
Well, I mean, you gotta be a member. Like, that's the thing. So, like, when you look at the people who are Thursday Night Records, it's me, you, Nampy, Jason, Jim. It's the people who drive the community, make content in the community, want their name associated with the stuff. I mean, as far as like repping Thursday nights, no. I mean, like, anybody in the community can rep Thursday nights. As far as like putting your music out, like me distributing your music and doing the stuff that it takes to distribute it, like putting it on the platforms and stuff like that, running it through that. I mean, yeah, we need to have a talk, but like
Right.
as far as like repping it, no. Like, am I gonna like put everything you got on the website? Probably not. Like it's not a label, but it's, I mean, I think that's a good question. Like, as far as like what you have to do to be a part of it, it's not like there's not rules or anything like that. It's just like, I feel like it's one of those things. Once you're a part of it,
Right. Right. And the whole reason for asking was just to get people interested and want to be a member. And yeah, Fireman, it's a network, not a label. But at the same time, there's benefits of joining. Like, do you give like price discounts for being a member of Thursday Night Records if you're putting out a record on physical copies?
Like price discounts as far as like pressing and everything?
Yeah.
Like, we'll work on pressing it together and stuff like that. As far as like mixes for it or anything like that, we'll do those pretty much. I mean, we mix each other's stuff for an agreement that we have with each other,
Right.
and like we jump on each other's stuff and stuff like that, you know.
Right.
Good example being fucking the song Wobblin' from the Stone Sober album. Me and Nappy were working on the mix for that song, and then Nappy I kind of had to jump and do some stuff, and then I came back and I was listening through the mix, and I heard like Nappy had added. So there's a line in the hook where I say like Nappy said, "I'm staying fucked up till, let's see, full throttle. I'm wobbling with this bottle and popping. Like Nappy said, I'm staying fucked up till my coffin." So if you listen, there's like the faintest ad lib in there where Nap kind of just took and did a vocal line after I said coffin and does the yells fucked up. And that was right after his song Fucked Up had came out, you know? And so, you know, it's just little stuff like that. Like we're all involved with each other's music, you know?
Right.
That's the thing is like, I think that's the benefit more is like, it's not so much that there's like a benefit. Oh, you're going to get a discount here, there, whatever. No, it's just, it's going to be done. Like those things are going to be done and you're going to be, you know, we are going to do that. Like, collectively we will make it happen.
Right. And again, it's like it says, you know, it's more of a networking thing. And anybody that wants to join, you can join the Discord and talk to Alpha about how to be involved with it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, you know, Nappy's not going to let me fail. I'm not going to let him fail. Neither of us are going to let Jim or Jason fail. Like, the fact is, when it comes down to it, it's a friendship, and because it's a friendship, it's a team. Like it's a real team, man. Like it's a real
right.
Like we will do this thing. It's not like, well, yeah, I'll help you out, but you got to kick me like $30 for the mix on that track or something like that. No, fuck that. Like it's no, like let's get this shit done. Like
it's a community. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're always pushing each other, helping each other in any way we can. Even me with going ahead and submitting written reaction to the website about what's going on, or going ahead and pushing the music from the artists that are members to other reaction channels that I try to do.
Jay's taking a slot at me because I never post.
Hey, 90s made. But yeah, I had to throw that in there a little bit because, you know, I've written a bunch of things for the website that Alpha has a problem with updating.
Listen, man, it's just I am not a webmaster. Okay.
So if you have any experience in being a webmaster, hit Alpha up.
Not good at it. Not right now.
If you need to take a break and deal with family.
What do you need? What's the password? Yeah. Come here. I can't hear you. Come here. What do you want?
I'd like a hug.
You want a hug?
Yeah.
You came in here for a hug?
Yeah.
That's lame.
The little mini me.
You want my teeth fell out and it's already coming in.
Nice.
Cool. What are you wearing?
I just put it on me.
Are you wearing an Elsa dress?
I don't know. Queso.
All right. Do you need something?
I love you.
I love you too. That's not a need, though.
Okay.
What do you want?
So I wanted daddy time.
Hi to the friends.
You want to say hi to the friends? Look there and say hi to everybody.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. Oh, that's your... Okay.
Hi, friends.
Hi. How are we doing?
Good.
I'm glad to hear that.
Are you going to bed? Is it your bedtime? Hold on. Are you just trying to weasel me right now? No, it's not bedtime yet.
It's not.
Not yet.
I get to stay up. It's not my bedtime just yet.
Roxy said hello to you.
Hi.
All right. Nampy says he saw more bears. Did you see that?
Wow.
She actually told my dad about that, Namp. Tell him about when you and Papa went bear hunting a couple of weeks ago.
We went bear hunting weeks ago.
Well, you're terrible at telling stories. You know that?
Yeah.
All right, go play with mommy.
Okay.
Daddy's gonna do
Finish
this.
up.
Mommy's working on buckets for Halloween.
Mommy's working on Halloween buckets.
Yeah.
She
Nice.
left you all alone.
Yeah.
That's why you came in here.
This thing, I want to be with you.
All right, I have a co-host for the rest of this interview. Then.
Right.
All right, you gotta sit here though. Sit normal. Stop. It's making my legs sweat. Also,
Jason
hold
says
on,
hi, Em.
let me put this knife up.
Be careful or you will hurt somebody.
Yeah,
Only creepers.
only creepers.
Only creepers.
All right. Jason said hi.
Hi.
All right.
So this will lead into the next piece about family life.
Mommy,
I don't have
Mommy's watching your stream.
Is she?
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't
That's
said
one
it.
thing that I love about your family is you're all supportive of each other and everything y'all do.
Could I hear?
Yeah, let me. All right. You might have a little bit of an echo.
That's
Yeah, we try to be. I mean, damn, Tiny came in here and started hacking up a lung, and
fine.
we try to be. I mean, so that was the thing. Honestly, when I started doing like my stuff full time and kind of moved away from my last job, Sierra was kind of a big push because before I pulled the trigger on that, I kind of called her and we had a conversation and talked it through, and
Right.
I want to make sure that she was comfortable with that and kind of understood, that's the thing when you make your money based on interest and like availability and quality and people being interested in the product that you're making and stuff. There are peaks and valleys sometimes, and I wanted her to understand kind of how that was and what that meant and everything. But she was 100% behind me. She was like, no, fuck that job. She's like, I'm tired of watching it. Because I mean, the fact is, if I stayed with my last job, I was kind of to the point where the stress alone was pushing me to just some negative physical symptoms, I would say, of stress.
Right. I remember that.
And she was worried about me. She was kind of tired of seeing that happen and stuff. And so, she kind of pushed me there. And then when she started doing her thing, for anybody who doesn't know, my wife runs a really successful Etsy shop, like a painfully successful Etsy shop.
She's working on things.
Yep.
And so it kind of turned into a point though where she and I kind of had to look at things and just realize like we're both working on things kind of on our own in the house together a lot of times, and still making sure that we both have time for M. We both have time for each other and stuff like that. And it's a juggle. I mean, you can only do it with the right person. You can't have that kind of life with just anybody, you know?
Right. Yeah. And that goes into the other thing of how do you juggle all of what you do?
Not so well sometimes. It's to me, the thing that I try to stay mindful of is
It put away.
like things like making an album of my music are like secondary goals and stuff. That's not my I'm not a rapper, you know. I'm a DJ. And the thing is, DJs rap. Like DJs do rap. DJs rap all the time. DJs put you know, homie, you good? DJs rap all the time. Like it used to be a thing. It's not so much anymore because nobody has DJs anymore. But it used to be a thing. And so, like, yeah, you know, I don't think that changes the dynamic. I'm not putting it out to be the next Eminem. I don't want to be a rapper. I don't want to be a great rapper, but I do. Hold on, baby. I do want to have a project that's not like DJ Khaled. I don't just want to fucking yell Khaled and you know, call it my album, like you know, or my song or whatever. Like, there, you know, it's just a priorities thing. You know, there's certain things that I will not drop the ball on when it comes down to parenting or something like that, paying bills and stuff like that. Like that's my first job. And you know, so when it comes down to juggling things, I may miss a stream sometimes. I may be late for a stream sometimes because I'm doing something that, you know, comes into that primary responsibility of what I have to do to make money to get paid. Because when I do my streams, I don't ask people to pay me. I don't ask people for money, you know. There's a method there, and I appreciate it when you send it, but that's not the reason that I go live, you know.
And that's the thing a lot of people don't understand is they'll pop into your stream and want you to react to their music, but you have a list that you go by that you can type into the chat or to find the list and see where you are in position on the list. And the donations take a priority because people have paid good money, so they go first.
Yeah, 100%. And if you want to give me beer money, then I'm going to listen to your song first. You know,
exactly.
That is what it is.
Hi, Spencer.
But, yeah, I try to be fair, and it started a while back. It started when, you know, ATRL had like 60 people watching at any given time. And it was just like people were like, no, I want to hear it before I got to leave, but I got to leave right now. So initially I was hesitant about even opening it up to take $5 to react to a song. And then, you know, once you have a $5 queue and that gets pretty full and somebody's like, well, I need to be sooner than that. And it's like, okay, well, then we will, you know, open the $10 queue, and then $20 is still the most that I'm willing to take. But it's you know, it all had a reason. It's all through necessity, and none of it is required. Like, at the end of the day, I make a genuine effort to do all the free requests during my live streams. Now, there are times that it may get to a certain point and it's like, okay, well, all three of them left are from one person. And so because of the Geminator rule, I can't play 3 songs from the same person back to back. So this is the last one, you know? And that may happen sometimes. And, you know, it is what it is. I'm sorry for anybody who gets their feelings hurt by it, but it's just,
I have to laugh because it's usually me that has that happen to.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and it is what it is. It's not ever out of a negative place though, and it's not like I'm like, oh, well, fuck you because you didn't give me $5, you know.
Roxy,
we gotta keep a way to keep ourselves happy, right?
Right, exactly.
Yes.
And I also noticed that through the community, people have gone ahead and given you shout outs with their live streams by taking the way that you do your live streams and doing it for themselves, aka Namson,
Yeah.
because he puts in his description the same rules you have and quotes that they come from you.
Look, it's a system that works. Okay, it's
Mhm.
not a system that you're required to go by, but it works. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Exactly. And
um,
it's cool that the community also gives that shout out back,
yeah,
and that's what part of having a community is all about is, you help each other grow.
yeah. I have noticed a few people have taken my rules without shouting me out, but that's okay too.
Right. And there goes Namson.
All right. Do you have a question? Do you want to ask me something?
It's kind of boring staying with mommy working.
Yeah.
I have a question for
I
Emery.
wanted to stay with you.
I'm sure it is. You what?
I have a question for
I
Emery.
want to
Hold on.
stay.
Yeah, you're in here. What? You what?
My question for Emery is, have you ever thought about doing a song with your dad?
No.
No? Do you like to sing and or rap?
Yeah, I like to sometimes.
That's cool. Have you thought about that, Alpha, about putting her in a song?
Yeah, Sierra's told me a bunch of times that I should. Maybe. You want to do a song with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If she's good enough.
Fucked.
Yeah,
Yeah, check this out.
that's
Do you
sweet.
know that one song by Daddy?
Mm-mm.
You don't know it?
I don't know.
It starts with last.
Word.
No, last time that I. Hold on. You'll know it when I put it on. Look, watch this. She's like a little mimic.
I'm like a
Right.
monkey.
You know this one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm my way. Down then a chick. Thank you with it. Down then a chick. Check.
Nice.
Goes on next to check.
Nice. That was great.
Keep it down.
Keep
Mhm.
it down.
Yeah, we gotta keep it down so that she can be heard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a day one, literally.
Right. Mm-hmm. Can you say I'm a day one?
Yeah, I'd say
Yes.
you're a little closer to 10 p.m. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's this?
It's an ink pen.
An ink pen?
Yes.
It's sharpening. It's going. This part is going. Out.
It's sharp.
Yeah, it gets sharp when you click this button.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
I do it a lot of times.
Nice.
Yeah.
Put that back.
So, if anybody doesn't have any more questions, I guess we're going to be wrapping up because I got to go fix dinner soon.
What was that? Stop.
I said if nobody has any more questions, then we'll be wrapping it up soon because I got to go fix dinner for my family.
Right on. Sounds good, my man. I probably gotta go figure out something too like that.
Right.
All right. Well.
Phone?
And Roxy says she puts more emphasis on her words than a lot of rappers. Jason said he put Bubba's hook in the email.
Why?
Yeah, I saw it pop up on my
Take
phone.
a bath?
You gotta go take a bath?
Yeah.
Aight.
I'm gonna see you after the bath.
Okay.
All right. Any last thoughts?
No, man, I appreciate you having me up. Appreciate everybody popping through and watching and hanging out. Even the silent ones that probably watch because they hate me.
Right.
I hope you got some good shit to stir somewhere in your ways or whatever you do.
Yeah. I purposely left that part out to talk about, the haters and the stream snipers and all that, because we don't need to perpetuate the drama.
Oh, they're fun people.
Mm-hmm. But thank you for being on here, and thank everybody for showing up. We appreciate y'all, and we hope to see you over on Alpha's Discord, aka the Dick Sword.
And don't forget, tomorrow night is Thursday night, and that means there's only one place to be.
Yes. Yes. Only one place to be. ALPHATYLER on Twitch.
I know it feels dirty, doesn't it, Roxy?
Yeah, well, right now that's my platform. And Jason says he's this shit stirring asshole.
Roxy feels me. I don't know. I'm still trying to decide if I want to stream some Final Fantasy VII after this, or if I want to take a nap. I think I'm one nap away from feeling not sick anymore. So,
Well, maybe you should do that.
If we're at the end of the stream, we should definitely hit a cilantro, though.
Definitely cilantro.
Cilantro, everyone.
Roxy says she's going to go shower now. Have a good one, Roxy.
I get that YouTube feels dirty. It makes me need to shower too, but my kid just got in the bathtub, so.
Mm-hmm. But we thank y'all for showing up, and we hope y'all have a good night. Cilantro, as he drinks his beer.
Indeed. Indubitably. Have a good night, everybody.
Night all.